Ho ho ho! Scotty, Santa Scotty here for a Christmas review. Not only is this a Christmas review, it's also sort of continuing my Doctor Who retrospective series that I started 2 years ago, or a year ago, before the pandemic really got going, and then I stopped because I needed a break. I was putting them out. I finished series 1, and I planned on doing this for last Christmas. Couldn't get to it. So here we are, the Christmas Invasion, the very first holiday Christmas special. I say holiday because now they do New Year's stuff. Technically, they did a Halloween special this year when you talk about the Flux. But here we are. It's David Tennant's first outing as the 10th Doctor. And, there was a bit of a change. Because going into this, I was ready to complain about how he's not the Doctor, is not in the episode most of the time, or the special most of the time. He's sidelined because of his regeneration. But when I watched it, I felt like this was handled actually very well. It's not just, later seasons after regeneration, would just be done with a little bit of oof, oof to it, but nothing quite this heavy. And I realized why is that they did this, like Russell T. Davies or whoever wrote this, they did this to kind of introduce, because I bet a lot of people new to Doctor Who were confused when Christopher Eccleston changed into David Tennant at the end of Series 1. So what is going on? So this is how they get him used to it. Show him it's not, and have the characters around him adjust to it. Like, Rose doesn't know if it's the same Doctor that she went on these adventures with. Harriet Jones, she's always saying, "Where's my Doctor?" When, I do love the continuation of the joke, which she's Prime Minister now. Harriet Jones, Prime Minister, yes, we know who you are. Even the Sycorax, the aliens, when they said, "Harriet Jones, Prime Minister," and they, in the translation, "Yes, we know who you are." It made me laugh out loud. It really did. Even the aliens are in on the joke. So it's funny. It's funny. But yes, David Tennant is sidelined for 80% of this episode, of this special. He shows up, like he pops up, like he's laying in the bed, and there's this thing where he wakes up just to deliver exposition. Like, because there's robot Santas attacking, and you have him waking up just deliver, they were fish or something, and then Mickey, he passes out, and Mickey looks it up, and they're like messengers or something, and then the real alien threats come in. And I like how they signify that the Doctor's out of sync, like out of commission, by the fact that the TARDIS isn't properly working. Like, they're speaking in an alien language and Rose can't understand them. Usually, the TARDIS would translate it, but it's not. And that works into something later, and I like how they did that. I've always liked that. First time I watched this, I was disappointed that Tennant wasn't in it more. But they say once you rewatch something, this is actually my third time watching it. It gets better and better every time I watch it, honestly. David Tennant is, in my opinion, the best Doctor. A lot of people go between him and Smith, if you go by New Who. Or even him and Tom Baker, and Tom Baker's a good one. The 4th Doctor, he's great. But Tennant, for me, will always be my favorite. Even when the others come around, I like Smith, I like Capaldi, Jodie's okay. But David Tennant, even Eccleston is pretty good, but David Tennant is probably the best Doctor for me. And he's only really vocal, does something in this for like 20 minutes, if even. Besides that little thing with the Christmas trees going nuts and the robot Santa Clauses, where he just passes out again. Yeah, so story here. We're gonna go into the story a little bit, and I'll get back to some of my talkings. The story is it's Christmas. The Doctor and Rose show up. The Doctor passes out. The British government has sent a satellite to Mars, but it's picked up by the Sycorax, who send it. And okay, so I'm very confused because it's been a while since I've watched the Scythian invasion arc that they had in series 1. But like when this is broadcast, everyone says, "Oh, it's a hoax." The government is telling them it's a hoax. No, they saw an alien fucking spaceship crash into the bridge, the London Bridge, or whatever it was. No. People saw aliens in Downing Street. And somehow, nobody believes that they're really aliens. But now, at the end of this, they say people have seen this. They saw it before, and they still believed it was a hoax. I don't know. I don't know. But, yes, and Rose. Alright. There's a... Rose has never been my favorite. Sorry to say. She's in 2 series. She's never been my favorite. I always thought she kind of comes off as whiny. Particularly, like, I love Mickey. Okay? I love Mickey the Idiot. Alright? But he's mistreated so much. He's Rose's boyfriend, and she ignores him 99% of the time. Even when they come back, like, she hugs him, but the whole time that he's right there, she's worrying about the Doctor, and whining, and complaining, and bitching about the Doctor. That's your boyfriend. It's Christmas. Give him a hug. I mean, come on. I understand the Doctor's important, but the Doctor is not even brought up by Harriet until they need one last hope. Because there's like, she's dealing with it herself. She talks about Torchwood, which is the first time we'll get a mention of Torchwood. We hear it a couple times in this. And then she's like, well, there's only one thing left to do. And she gets on the telly, and she calls out to the Doctor, who's still schnoozing in the bed, of course, because he's dealing with regeneration, which is the only time we really see that in New Who, where he's dealing with regeneration like that. I think, like I said, I think it was to sort of introduce the idea of regeneration to the modern audience who may not be familiar with it. So I think that was a pretty good idea. But even then, I like how Tennant is revealed, or like the Doctor is revealed to be back. I don't like how they went about bringing him back, because like they're trying to figure out how to bring him back. They realize they have to get to the TARDIS. Jackie's left behind when Mickey and Rose are in there with the Doctor, and the Sycorax take the TARDIS, and Rose goes out to check on her mom because apparently they can't feel when they're transported. I don't know. And she screams when she sees the Sycorax. Mickey drops his, the thermos of tea, which lands on a hot device thing that starts to steam up through the grate to the Doctor, which ends up waking him up. Cup of tea. That's why even to this day, sometimes, like, oh, I don't know if it's so good. A cup of tea will be right as right. A cup of tea wakes the Doctor up. But I do like this, because the guy is talking to him, and you got the other guy, like, 4 government officials. There's a general, there's a Doctor guy, and Harriet Jones and the translator are all taken off, and they kill off the general and the Doctor guy. Why are they even brought up? And before I get to the reveal of the Doctor, something else I gotta mention. They hold people hostage on rooftops that are a certain blood type. A positive. Now, I am not one of those who keeps track. I don't know my blood type. I be positive. I be positive they ain't touch me with no needle. But anyway, we know what movie is that from. But, A positive. Everyone who's A positive goes to a roof, and they're gonna make him jump off, or so we think. It's not really negative, it's a nitpick, but I feel like they undermine this later because this is a big deal. You got a bunch of people standing on the roofs. One press of one press of a button, and how he says it, a button, and they can all fall off the roof, or so we think. But yes, this guy is talking. The Sycorax leader is talking in alien. The guy's translating, and all of a sudden, they're both speaking English. You're speaking English. I would never. If you're not speaking English, that means the TARDIS is working, and a great camera shot of this focusing in on the TARDIS as the door opens. Did you miss me? And this is where David Tennant gets the shine, the dialogue, everything. Like, they try to hit him with a whip. He grabs it, little pokes him with his eye out with the thing. And just like, everything. Like, these big, scary Sycorax have been big and foreboding. And with the shade, in the shade of like 5 minutes, it's all thrown away. The big whip that killed 2 people before, he grabs it, throws it away. You know? Guy's threatening him. Who are you? I don't know! You know, he just throws it back at him. And the button. He pulls it. Blood control, A positive. And push the button. Pushes it and it deactivates him because they actually don't have full control. It can't trigger death, apparently. So there was never any real threat to those people. So that kind of undermines it a little bit. But the way that Tennant goes about it just is fantastic. And then there is the challenge. And you have the Doctor fighting the Sycorax leader in his pajamas. He gets his hand cut off, which will come in handy later. It will. It'll come back. That hand comes back in more ways than one. Because that falls off the sword. But he still has regenerative energy. So gets a new one. And it's a fighting hand. So he fights. And you know, and he convinces him to surrender, and then all the troops will leave, and they agree to it. And then you get a real show of the acting that David Tennant could do, because he goes from this happy moment of hugging Mickey, Rose, being all happy, and Harriet and all that, to when the Sycorax leader gets up, he has his little fruit, hits the button, falls, and just says, "No second chances." Brilliant. Fantastic. They are beamed back to Earth. He tells them that they have to retreat and never came back. They beam back to Earth. And we get a moment that I think a lot of people criticize, but I think this works. Because of how they handle it. It's not just done, do it, over. No, it's handled well. You get Jackie back, everyone hugging, happy, and then they're flying away, the ship. And then Harriet Jones is told, Torchwood is ready. It's not like she just tells him to go ahead and do it right away. You could tell on her face, because the Doctor was telling her before this that there are thousands of alien species, hundreds of thousands of alien species still out there. The Sycorax are just one of them. So you could tell, and when she is told that they're ready, she is mulling it through her head whether she wants to go through this, because she knows what could come of it. But she still says, do it. You may fire or whatever. Tell them to fire. And it destroys the ship. And once again, David Tennant is at his best here, yelling at her. I should have warned them. I should have told them to run as fast as they can, because the real aliens are coming. The real threat. Human beings. Then he says, I could ruin your world with 6 words. Don't you think she looks tired? Something like that. Don't you think she looks tired? Yeah. What'd you say? What'd he say? And then this whole thing causes panic. People are like, oh, she's unfit. She's not well. I'm fine. On the TV. And then it starts snowing. And this would have been fine if it was just like snow, but he's like, it's not snow, it's ash, because it's from the spaceship that was destroyed. So, yeah, undermines a bit when they're rolling around. How is Mickey able to make ash into a ball? Does ash solidify? I don't think so, but I don't know. And we get one last nod to Eccleston when they decide they're still going to go around the universe, and he says it's going to be fantastic. Nice nod. It'll be the last time we hear the Doctor say fantastic, I believe. At this point, for a while. You might say it later, I don't know. But, yes, and thus ends the Christmas Invasion. This was really good. I forgot how good this was. I remember, like I said, the first time I watched it, I was disappointed that the Doctor wasn't in it more. He was bedridden for most of the episode. But looking back now, they handled it perfectly. It's not too much of the Doctor. We got him at the end, just when we needed him. Perfect. Because think about it, if the Doctor was there from the beginning, they'd have to kind of weaken him down from his power set. The way he was handled here, he handled things just like that. And if he was there from the beginning, they'd have to kind of come up with excuses as to why he's not dealing with this right away. It's going to last an hour. So I do like that, how most of the time he's out of commission. That's why he can't do anything. And when he does finally, come back into it, he takes care of it like that. We also get where he gets his signature clothes because he's not being pajamas the whole time. I thought that'd be funny. And I like to think that there's one instance where he's wearing a scarf that's supposed to be a nod to Tom Baker. Because there's no... I was looking, too, at the other clothes in there. See, there's like a Easter egg to former, outfits. But there wasn't, as far as I could see. But he was wearing a scarf at one point. And that was a Tom Baker special there, the scarf. But, yeah, I still think this is really good. It still holds up. CGI is still... CGI in Doctor Who was never the best anyway. But still pretty good. So, yes, I want to get back into doing these reviews eventually. That's probably going to be later next year. But just doing more Christmas stuff. Hopefully. But this whole week's going to be Christmas stuff. So we'll get that going. So what are your thoughts on Doctor Who, The Christmas Invasion? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.